Well, there was never a doubt. Am I right? The Knicks always have to make it difficult. They can't ever give us an easy watch. Can't ever give an easy, even against the Toronto Raptors, even against some of those guys that I'd never heard of in my entire life. Who were those guys? Who were those NPCs at the end of the game? Emmanuel quickly doesn't even finish the game. He doesn't finish the game. Scotty Barnes barely plays down the stretch. Who are these guys cooking the Knicks left and right? It takes a heroic performance from Jalen Brunson down the stretch to win this game. And I'm like, all right, amazing. They won the game, right? Amazing. The Knicks outscored the Raptors 38-17 in the second quarter. If they don't have that quarter, they lose the game. They get outscored by 11 in the second half. The Knicks clearly lose their legs. They're tired as hell. They still win the game. And it still counts in the win column. Am I right? Listen, the Knicks, I really don't know what we did to deserve Jalen Brunson. I guess watching terrible performance after terrible performance by awful roster over the course of the last 10 years. But Jalen Brunson is one of, if not the best clutch player in the NBA. The guy constantly shows up when it matters the most. 2 nights in a row, 24 hours apart, the guy is picking apart the opposing defense at the end of the game. 2 straight nights. The Knicks don't win a game unless Jalen Brunson does what he did at the end. As we already got some comments flowing in, leave a comment down below if you'd like to get in the conversation. Ryan Cohen, huge minutes from Hukporti. I mean, I'm going to get to this in a little, but I was really encouraged with what I saw from Ariel Hukporti, who has kind of been inserted back into this lineup with OG Anunoby's injury. And I think it's important to also note the fact that the Knicks have been going bigger with their lineups ever since Anunoby's injury. It's easier to just put Anunoby at the 4. He could defend 1 through 5, and he'll play those minutes. He plays 40 minutes a game. Now that he's out, I like to see the interchanging lineups from Tom Thibodeau. I like to see Precious Achiuwa playing at the 4 mainly, where he thrives. I mean, defensively, he is an absolute menace at the 4. At the 5, he's just not long enough. He's not big enough to defend some bigger centers in this league, defensively on the glass specifically. But at the 4, he's dominant. He's dominant. He's a classic, cut and dry Tom Thibodeau player, specifically on the defensive end. And I'm not saying that, I don't want OG Anunoby is back as soon as possible, but I'm certainly interested to see how this Knicks team progresses without him on the floor. Hukporti, again, was really solid. In the first half, putting him on an island at the end of the half against Scotty Barnes one-on-one, he gets the stop. Like, what more could you ask of this guy on the defensive end? His rebounding needs some improvement. None of these guys box out. Even Josh Hart, the pound-for-pound best rebounder on the team, does not box out. He doesn't. I mean, I don't understand in this game. 21 minutes from Emmanuel quickly. I'm not exactly too tuned in to Raptors basketball to know whether or not he's playing down the stretch. I think he was just benched. I think it was just a really bad game from Emmanuel quickly. You got Jacoby Walter. You got Jamal Sheed or Shed. I think Shed. My bad. My apologies. Bruce Brown only gets 16 minutes in this game. It seems like the Raptors wanted to lose it. It seems like they are a part of the tank for Cooper flag movement, like a bunch of other teams in the NBA. But hey, the Knicks got this win. They wouldn't have won the game if they didn't completely obliterate the Raptors in the second quarter, and if Jalen Brunson didn't do what he does best at the end of the game. And on the stat sheet, you look at Karl-Anthony Towns, 27 points, 20 rebounds. Amazing game, right? On paper. Amazing. Karl-Anthony Towns has not been the same player since his thumb injury. He just hasn't. And you still have to respect the long ball from him. You still got to watch out for Karl-Anthony Towns to hit a 3-pointer. I think tonight he went 2 for 3 from 3. His volume is down from 3. It does not seem like he is as confident from downtown as he was before the injury against the Pistons. You look at Josh Hart. I mean, a surprising metric in this game. Out of the starters, Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart seems like they played the best out of all of them. Oh no, I see now. Fresh Chua at a minus 17 in this game. I don't know how that's minus 14. I don't even know how that's possible. I really don't know how that's possible. I mean, I think it was probably because he played the end of the third quarter, early the fourth quarter, when the Knicks got absolutely destroyed. But other than that, again, I really like what I saw from Precious Achiuwa tonight. Specifically, I liked what I saw from Ariel Hukporti. Listen, I think this Knicks team needs to show a lot of improvement, specifically against the worst talent. You see time and time again, the Knicks play down to their competition. It was the same tonight. They should have won this game by 30. I mean, how much were they up? What, 25 points? Their biggest lead? 23 points in this game. And they only won the game by 6 points. I mean, we could sit here, we could talk positives, we could talk Precious Achiuwa, and I have, and talk Ariel Hukporti, who apparently has caught the eye of owner James Dolan. That's pretty cool. I'm sure that felt good for Ariel Hukporti, the rookie. The James Dolan coming into the locker room, not to complain about how bad the team is. But no, I mean, listen, we could talk about all the positives. We can get into that, which, again, as I said, I already have. I just think it's important to highlight the negatives and the fact that this team, for whatever reason, loves to play down to the competition. They won the game against Houston last night. Houston was missing 3 of its 4 best players. I think we forget that. Oh my God, I'm not responding. I see that comment down below. I'm not responding. No politics here. We're not talking politics. And trust me, if I did offer an opinion on that, you may not be happy. But the Knicks are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the East. I don't think that's crazy to say. They play really well against good teams, and they play really poorly against bad teams. This is not a new thing for the Knicks. Feels like this has been a thing for the Knicks. Maybe, I don't know. If you remember 2020, 2021, the Knicks make the playoffs of the 4th seed. They shock everyone. They beat a lot of good teams because of how hard they played. This Knicks team's calling card isn't exactly toughness and heart. Yes, there are players on this team individually who have that. But for the most part, toughness isn't a part of this team's vocabulary. Team basketball, and we're seeing it more and more as the weeks go on. As you start to see this Knicks defense play a little bit more cohesively and connected. But this is not the same Knicks that we saw last year. Yes, they'll hustle. Yes. Again, there are individual players on this Knicks team who are going to bust their ass. But for the most part, that's not a part of this team's identity. It's not. And not to say that this team's worse than they were last year. Of course they're not. They've Karl-Anthony Towns now instead of Julius Randle. And they're seeing, some extremely elevated play from Josh Hart. They've got Mikal Bridges now. They are objectively a better team than they are last year. But they still commit the same mistakes that they did last year. One being they don't defend the 3 well whatsoever. Toronto goes 11 for 29 from 3, shoots 38% from 3. I mean, that's like run of the mill. That's average. If you're playing the Knicks, you are going to get open threes, and you're probably going to hit a significant amount of them. That's something the Knicks need to tighten up on. The 3-point defense. I'm sick and tired of watching wide open guy after wide open guy after wide open guy on the 3-point line. I'm pretty sure you all are as well. It's frustrating because you want to see this Knicks team close out better. You want to see them hustle out to the corner better. I think maybe that'll be a little bit more improved when you get Mitchell Robinson back, who is such a threat to do that. One of the most unique players in the NBA, and the fact that there are only, 4 or 5 centers that can get out to a 3-pointer the way that Mitchell Robinson can, with his length, with his athleticism. I'm interested to see how he'll impact the Knicks defense when he comes back. I've talked about it 1,000,000 times. And if you're just joining now on Bryce Gelman, as you can see from the title, recapping this game, a game in which the Knicks should have won by 40. They win by 6. They were up by 23 in the game. Jalen Brunson carried the team yet again. No one else touches the ball down the stretch. Josh Hart does more than Karl-Anthony Towns has recently. Mikal Bridges will get a shot or 2, in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Jalen Brunson is the guy they go to time and time again, and for good reason. You're stuck with him one-on-one, you're screwed. Jalen Brunson is putting the ball in the basket. It's that simple. It really is. And it is unbelievable how he continues time and time and time again to perform in the clutch. I always ask this, but what did we do to deserve this? Jalen Brunson. For the money that they paid him originally, come to the Knicks. Mavericks didn't want him back, or they did. They didn't want a whole thing, whatever. That organization. What a mess. Jalen's probably glad he didn't resign there. And then what he did this past offseason, taking a massive pay cut. What did we do to deserve this type of talent in the Mecca? What did we do? What did we do? I mean, the guy just shows up time and time. If there's one player on this team who embodies toughness, it's him. 6'1", 6'2" guy, constantly plays bigger than he is on defense, takes charges, draws plenty of offensive fouls. I mean, he does every little thing you need him to do on the basketball court. The one guy who does more and busts his ass more is Josh Hart. And he's the number one guy in the league for that. But again, the Knicks win this game by 6 points. They shoot 50% from the field, 8 for 25 from three. The three-point shooting from the Knicks has not been great recently. They've been thriving in the paint. 62 points in the paint this game. I'm pretty sure Kenny Albert said 81 points in the paint last night against the Rockets. Knicks, of course, coming off a back-to-back. They said that the Knicks landed at like 2:30 in the morning last night. Or this morning in Toronto after the game they played last night. Back-to-back. Raptors coming off a 1 day of rest. Obviously without RJ Barrett. And the Knicks, it should have been expected for them to almost blow this game. As much as I've harped on the fact that the Knicks should have won the game by more, I think we do need to acknowledge the fact that this Knicks team was on a back-to-back. And again, got in very late last night, this morning. So congratulations to the Knicks. They won the game. And you know what? I'm getting this notification this a lot. My Wi-Fi sucks, and both my roommates are on Fortnite right now, so I'm not surprised. Let me know down low if that's a problem. I can't tell. It might be Elon. It might be the Elon the Grifter. But listen, I think going forward for this Knicks team, you get OG Anunoby back healthy. You get more minutes for Huck Porty during this stretch. Hey, listen, you might want to use him as trade bait. You might be thanking your lucky stars that you got another solid performance out of him. You got OG Anunoby injured before the trade deadline, so you can get these guys some more run. So you can give Precious Achiuwa more run at the 4 where he's better as compared to the 5. You don't really know. Now, would I trade Precious Achiuwa after what we've seen from him? Absolutely not. There's not a chance in hell that I'm dealing Precious Achiuwa after how well he's played over the last month. If you really want someone, you want to back up big. Ariel Laporte has kind of proven to be serviceable enough to play good minutes. And like tonight, in a game in which Laporte plays, I believe like 20 or more minutes. Let me just confirm that here. He played a lot of minutes in this game. Laporte played, let's see, my computer sucks. Laporte plays, 19 minutes in this game. And looked completely fine. He looked completely fine. It's definitely the most minutes he's played all season. Tom Thibodeau will put him in for a minute or two, yank him for the rest of the game. He plays 19 minutes. Amazing. Amazing. The type of production that Tom Thibodeau is able to get out of his best players. He does not get enough credit for that. He absolutely does not. Every year the player polls come out. The guy players want to least likely they want to play for, Tom Thibodeau, every year, without doubt. Why the hell would you not want to play for Tom Thibodeau? You know how much money he can make you? You know how much money he made Isaiah Hartenstein? He's a really good player and fits in extremely well with OKC. 2 years, $18 million, the deal that he signed with the Knicks. After being a mediocre player with the Clippers. Comes to the Knicks, gets a $29 million deal. Deuce McBride, if he hits the open market today, would make $15 million. Precious Achiuwa signed a $6 million deal with the Knicks. He can make $12 to $13 million with how well he's played over the last month. So the notion that Tom Thibodeau is a difficult coach to play for, and these prima donnas in the NBA don't want to play for him, what a joke. Because you see production like this from Huck Porty. You see the production that the Knicks got from Precious Achiuwa and have continued to get from him. And the Knicks, listen, backup guard play has not been good. Campaign 1 for 5 tonight, 1 for 3 from 3, scores 7 points. Somehow he gets the free throw line 2 times. Got fouled on a 3-pointer and they got fouled on a drive. I'd say the biggest need for this Knicks team, and I'm going to talk about it plenty. Stay tuned Thursday at Knicks Central. He's going to be joining me, Alex B. He's going to be joining me in the lead up to the trade deadline from 1:30 to around 2. I have work at 2. Yeah, don't blame me. I would go live until 3 o'clock, but I can't. I got work. I'm a hardworking individual. But listen, I think that the Knicks' biggest need right now is a backup wing. Like, how many more games are you going to be able to play Huck Porty big minutes? And you continuously have to play Josh Hart 37 minutes. Bridges played 41 tonight. Towns plays 39. Yes, the backup big is important. You could also survive plenty of minutes with Precious at the 5. As long as you play him at the 4 just as much. And tonight you saw a lot of Huck Porty. You saw a lot of Precious because of how big the Raptors went. I mean, he started the game with Pirtle and Barnes at the 4. That's a big lineup. That's partially why Tom Thibodeau went and started Precious after starting Deuce last night, because they went big. And it's not just because they were playing well, Huck Porty and Precious Achiuwa, that they played so much. It's because the Raptors went so big. I mean, obviously, OG Anunoby has got the size to lock down Scotty Barnes. Not many other players do. In terms of Knicks wings, Bridges can't do it. Josh Hart can't do it. As big as he plays, he can't. Errol Huck Porty fan account. That's a pretty nice name. Good night for him tonight. Of course, some of your ideal backup wings. So I had Brian Geltzeiler on my YouTube the other day, I should say, last week on Friday morning. And we kind of got into that. And one name he brought up, I just definitely think is interesting, is Cody Martin. His brother Caleb just got traded to the Mavericks. Cody Martin could be a solid piece for the Knicks. I mean, like, realistically, who else is out there that the Knicks could get without giving up a lot for, without giving up Deuce McBride? Like, Mitchell Robinson is going to have to get traded in any potential deal. He's the one really tradable contract on the Knicks. You just don't want to trade Precious Achiuwa. He's given you enough. And if you could find a way, whether it be through Huck Porty playing better and earning his minutes, or through trading for a backup big and a backup wing, then you'd like to get Precious at the 4 a little bit more often. Because as of right now, Precious at the 5 might be better than Huck Porty at the 5. Huck Porty is not the world's best player. He played really, really well over the last 2 nights. Again, as I mentioned before, and if you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman. As you can see from the top, I'm reacting to this game. But as we mentioned earlier, last night, getting recognized by the owner of the Knicks, James Dolan. So clearly playing well enough for Dolan courtside to acknowledge him as playing a really solid game. But listen, I think the Knicks need to make a move. They need to do something, and it's difficult with where they are. They're strapped right under the second apron. They can't take in any more money than they can give out. So that presents its challenges. Because a lot of players in this league are making good money. A lot of money floating around this league. Mitchell Robinson is a contract making $15 million a year, making $13.5 next year with the descending contract. Again, who's the most tradable contract on the roster? Now, do you want to trade him away without seeing what kind of player he is? He may be a candidate to get dealt after the season, or at the trade deadline next year on an expiring deal, where the Knicks can attach a pick or two and get a solid rotation piece next year. The Knicks should have access to their mid-level exception, though, or the veterans exception, whatever it is, the $6 million contract. So they'll be able to get someone. It just depends if a solid player is willing to take a pay cut. But listen, big Knicks win tonight. Should have won by more. Didn't because a multitude of reasons. Emmanuel quickly did not play at the end of the game, which was shocking. You got some NPCs cooking the Knicks at the end of the game, but Jalen Brunson, as heroic as he has been, helped the Knicks prevail in this one. And I think it's a testament to his late game strength. Like, it's difficult mentally to do what Jalen Brunson continues to do. It's tough to power through playing big minutes in a close game. Very easy to lose your legs, come up short on jump shots. Jalen Brunson never does. And maybe later on in the playoffs when he's playing 40-plus minutes a game. We have not seen that lately in the last 2 nights. Brunson plays huge minutes last night, wins the game against the Rockets, plays huge minutes tonight, wins the game against the Raptors. And what more could we ask of the guy? He has really stepped up since Towns' injury. Towns had a really good night tonight. Really good night. 27 and 20 rebounds, 9 offensive rebounds. He was a menace. Precious even got 6 offensive rebounds. The Knicks dominated the boards, specifically on the offensive end. Dominant. And with that, they did lose this game easily. Handily, they lose this game. But yeah, again, good win for the Knicks. They continue to trudge forward before the All-Star break here. They don't play again until Saturday, which is big. I think you can get some rest days. I would not bring OG Anunoby, even if he's healthy, until after the All-Star break. Give him his rest. He hadn't missed a game all season before last night against the Rockets, and then tonight as well. Give him his rest. Give him his rest, and then watch him come back and be the player that he was at the start of the year. One of the NBA's best players at both ends of the court. I mean, he was unbelievable at the start of the year. Can you imagine if you got that OG Anunoby for the stretch run of the season? Maybe this injury was a blessing in disguise. Maybe it was. I don't know. But that'll do it. I wanted to do something quick here. Again, if you want to leave a comment in the next 30 seconds, leave one. I'll get to maybe answer some questions here. I never get any comments. I don't even know if anyone's watching this. I know I got Ryan Cohen and Ariel Hugporty fan account. Other than that, if you tune in for anything in the future, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll get to whatever I can get to. But yeah, really appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you're actually in the live stream, again, stay tuned. Thursday, going to be a live trade deadline special with @Knicks Central, Alex B, one of my favorite Knicks Twitter personalities. He gets a lot of hate, a lot of backlash, but we're going to be talking Knicks trade deadline on Thursday. So until then, I'm Bryce Gelman, and I will see you all then. Let's go Knicks.